Welcome to this massive open online course, or MOOC for short. It covers a topic that is very close to my heart and has been occupying me at Graz University of Technology for a long time. Social aspects of information technology. Since 2008, I have had the privilege of teaching the course of the same name at Graz University of Technology for students of computer science. And year after year, we have experienced and continue to experience innovations in the digital world, the effects of which we often only understand years later. I often fondly remember my youth and my time as a student. Back then, we had a Commodore, Amiga or Atari at home, mainly for playing games. And we were amazed that we could now write on a computer, a PC, using Windows 3.11, and then print it out on a dot matrix printer. At the same time, we were delighted that the keyboard was much better suited to typing than the laborious typewriters. And above all, it was easy to correct typos. At university, I was shown how to write an email in a shell environment, and I know only too well that I thought at the time, what on earth would anyone need that for? Why? Well, who would sit down at a computer and call someone up when I could just call them on a telephone, mind you? My doctoral supervisor himself coined a very famous saying when he said that the evolution of the computers was not their invention, but their networking. And he was absolutely right. We lived through the beginning of the internet, the dot-com bubble, and then ended up in Web 2.0, the participatory web. Everyone could now publish things online without extensive programming or any HTML knowledge. Networking allowed communication applications, social media, etc. to grow. Apple launched the iPhone. Google followed suite with Android. The incredible networking continues and continues. The world is digitalizing at an enormous speed, and artificial intelligence is taking us into new spheres. Looking back, one thing is certain. Technology, and in our case digital technologies, is advancing unabated and massively changing our everyday lives. In other words, it is having an impact on society. However, this requires us to consider whether rules, boundaries, ethical barriers, etc. are needed to enable coexistence within political and economic structures. Or how can we enable equal access for all sections of the population, regardless of age, origin, or level of education? In short, the more necessary digital technologies are for our lives or existence, the more dependent we are on them. They are used for the benefit of all humanity and are available accordingly. All of this is behind this online course. With this course, I want to stimulate thoughts and show that technologies and innovations have always had a lasting impact on human behavior and thus on everyday life. What we accept as completely normal today was at one time a controversial innovation, and it took many more steps to become a generally accepted and socially relevant technology. Therefore, you will see now many, I call them stories, about technologies and innovations that show how massively they influenced and changed society. I hope you will find these examples inspiring in understanding the impact that current and future digital technologies can have and what it takes to anchor them sustainable in society in a way that benefits humanity. As usual, the course itself is divided into modules, each of which concludes with a self-assessment for reflection questions. And once you have completed them all, you will receive the corresponding certificate of participation. Before I wish you lots of fun with the course, I would also like to thank the many helping hands in the background, the entire video and audio production team for the great videos, the instructional design team for the implementation and design, and last but not least, the many students who researched the content with me together and prepared it with a great enthusiasm. Thank you very much for this. Last but not least, I must also express my gratitude to my avatar. He does an excellent job. Let yourself be surprised. Now, enjoy the MOOC.